Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today I'm talking about the source of stress. Now, you might think it would take me a long time to share with you all the different sources there are of stress, but it really isn't as complicated as that. As we spend time in the world on social media, out and about, chatting to people, we are being pointed time and time again that the world out there is making us feel stressed. At the moment, it's the cost of living. The cost of living is a stressor, we're being told. The price of fuel, the fact that when we now pump that fuel into our cars, often we are paying over £100 for a tank of fuel. But that's not the source of stress. The source of stress is always our thinking about things. In fact, that's the source of any feeling we might experience in life. But we're being told something different. Well, we're not being told really. It just seems to be that those things out there are creating our stressful feelings. But what I'm going to do today is sort of describe two scenarios or two stories of two different women who are having a different experience of life at the moment. So let's say that these women are both in exactly the same circumstances, because I tend to find that when I say things like these, people are like, well, you're not in these people's awful circumstances, you're not a single parent with no money, etc., etc. And I feel deep, deep compassion for anybody who is in that position. However, I'm going to take these two women, I'm going to call one of them Susan and the other one Helen. And we're going to imagine that they are both in exactly the same situation, like financially, number of children, they're pretty much in the same situation, living in the UK with the price of things going up. I am shocked after I go into the supermarket and see that something's £1 more than it was last week, literally. So let's take Susan first of all. So Susan is in this place of believing that the circumstances are creating the stress. So she doesn't feel so good. She's spending a lot of time thinking about how bad the things out there. She's probably trying to find solutions to it, but she's caught up in the dread of it. She's worrying about it. She's not sleeping very well. She's a bit snippy with her children. She just feels very busy-minded because she's thinking and thinking and thinking about this awful thing. She's going into the future. She's going into doom and gloom scenarios. She's got a lot of thinking about the price of life that seems to be going, the cost of living that seems to be going through the roof. As a result of this, as I say, she's feeling very stressed. She's not sleeping very well, and she can't think straight. She's just about managing to keep going, but she's feeling awful. And she's not got any solutions to any of it because her head is so busy with all the thinking and the worrying and the stressful thinking. That's what it's like for her. And the reason that she's feeling that way is because she doesn't understand where her feelings are coming from. Now, Helen is in a different position. Helen is very aware that the cost of things is going on. She goes to the supermarket and she sees that her money isn't going as far as it was. She's in the same kind of physical circumstance as Susan. However, Helen knows that when she's feeling stressed and feeling wound up, she knows that that's letting her know that she's thinking stressful thoughts, that her thinking is not particularly helpful right now. And what happens when Helen has that realization is that quite naturally her system, which has a psychological immune system, self-rights, and she might go up into these stressful feelings, but she comes back down again quite quickly because she kind of realizes, oh, it's not particularly helpful to think and think and think about the rising cost of living because that makes me feel stressed. So she tends to let that thinking go. And as a result, she's spending more of the time, despite being in the same circumstance as Susan, she's spending more of the time feeling quite calm and clear-headed. And as a result, she starts to get creative. So she notices that the kids aren't really watching Netflix very much anymore. So she thinks, oh, I'll cancel Netflix. And she notices that there's a cheaper brand of food on the shelf and she buys that instead. So she starts to make little savings because she's in this space of clear mind. She can think straight. And because she can think straight, she can make better decisions for her and her family. And she's not gone way off into the future, into the doom of gloom of, being homeless and not having enough food and all the things that it's really easy to get caught up in. Now, none of this is saying anything other than I have a deep compassion for people who are struggling with their circumstances, but also who are caught up in this misunderstanding right now. Because it's really the misunderstanding that's the problem, not the circumstances. And as I say, I am deeply compassionate for everybody. I too have had to make quite a lot of changes in order to survive financially. But because my fiance and I are in this place of knowing that if we get wound up about it, we're not really going to be much use to ourselves, we've been quite calm and we've made all sorts of interesting decisions. We've actually had quite a lot of fun playing around with, well, how can we save money? What can we do? So we have actually, or we are virtually, we're about to cancel Netflix because I think it's $15.99 a month. And we're not really using it. We found some fun things to watch on the BBC app, which is free, the ITV app, and we don't watch that much television anyway. There's loads of our great teachers on YouTube. We might watch a bit of that. So we've got we're just going to do something different. What else? We've started to do a monthly big shop. So we're doing a monthly big shop and then just buying our fresh stuff. So all our cans and stuff we buy in the first week of the month. And anything that will last, we're freezing like fresh fish and stuff like that. And then we're just having to buy bits and pieces as we go through the week, which means we're kind of spending less time in the shops. And then we're less tempted to pick up things that A, probably not very healthy for us, and B, cost us money that we buy stuff we don't need. There's all those tempting offers in Aldi and Lidl, like down the middle, and you're buying things you don't really need. We've started car booting. We're having a big clear out, going off to car boots, selling stuff, having actual fun. I've actually sold 2 chairs this week to a friend of mine because she'd mentioned that she needed and with the clear head, you can see the opportunities. We're decorating a room and we're probably going to rent out the room, either on an Airbnb basis or a longer term tenant. So if anybody needs somewhere to live in Westleath, give me a shout. Might be able to help you out there. What else have we done? Oh, we realised that we are 2 people living in a 3-bedroomed house, and we were paying the water rates for a 3-bedroomed house, which is as if a family was living here. So we've gone onto a water meter, and we're saving £50 a month on water. So there's just, and we're quite economical with water now. We're kind of not running the tap a lot. I'm not using a lot of water. Because we're thinking about it, because we've got the clarity. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying it's not good for the cost of living to be going through the roof. Nobody wants that. But we can either be in a space of acceptance and clarity, or we can be fighting against it and thinking about it and, really winding ourselves up about it with our thinking. And we only do that because most of us don't realise that it is our thinking that's the thing, not the thing outside there. It's not the circumstance, it's our thinking about that circumstance that's creating our experience. And when we start to realise that, it makes less and less sense to go into the thinking. It's like if I realise I'm punching myself in the arm and my arm hurts, I'm going to stop doing it. If I don't realise I'm punching myself in the arm, I'll keep doing it. So the real source of stress, the true source of stress is thought in the moment. And that's why we go up and down when our circumstances stay the same. And when we see this, there's just so much more available to us as human beings. It is amazing what we can do and what solutions we can come up with when we're not so caught up in our thinking and we're not feeling stressed. So that's something for us to consider, for you to consider today as you go through your day. Enjoy.
Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.